It's me once again, Neil from the Overclocker magazine. So I wanted to just get to you guys a little bit more often, and I was just trying this new format, or rather I am trying this new format where I can just talk to you about stuff that I'm testing, looking forward to testing, or stuff that's just amazing or exciting that's happening in this PC technological space that we all share and love. So anyway, I think a few days ago, maybe on Sunday, a friend of mine just so happened to have some KLEVV DRAM kits, and I asked him if could I just take a look at one of those kits, and he was like, yeah, sure, and he just handed me a bunch of his memories. So anyway, a lot of the stuff was the lower bin stuff, the lower SKUs rather, so that's like DDR4 3200, but there was one 3600 kit, and this is the one that I'm talking to you about. So earlier in the week, I had put out on the socials that I found like a really cheap kit that's available at EVTech for about $2,200. It's a 3600 kit, but you can literally get DDR4 5000 plus from it. And this is the kit that I have to show you today. So I was going to review the DDR4 4000 kit of the same memory from KLEVV. I still might do that. But the 3600 is what I have on hand here, and it's what I spoke to you about, so I'm going to show you that. So this motherboard is obviously the Phantom Gaming ITX. I did the review like a couple of weeks ago. You can check it out in the description below. But for the purposes of this little video that I've made here, it's appropriate because it's a 2-DIMM board like all mini ITX boards. But because of how Z590 works, because of how Z590 works, just about every single Z590 motherboard in conjunction with an 11th gen CPU can give you really good DRAM overclocks. Everything is normal. DDR4 2666. Look how easy it is to get to 4800 with this memory. You just select your DRAM frequency. Sorry if you can hear me bashing on the keyboard here. It's right on the same desk as the mic. So you just said 4800, you said gear 2, right? And you pretty much just set your voltage, your DRAM voltage to 1.6. We'll talk about DRAM voltage at a later point, but for now, just don't freak out if you are freaking out. This is just fine. And then your VCC IO memory voltage, I'm going to use something like 1.3. It should be more than enough. Okay, and that's it. The system is ready to go. This is how easy it is to OC this memory. So I'm going to pause the video a little bit, or at least you're not going to be able to see anything because the motherboard is training the memory and so forth. As you can see, we're now in Windows. So let's see if my DDR4 4800 OC worked. It should have worked. The motherboard didn't give me any issues. Let me know about a failed overclock. As you can see, close enough to 2400, right? So yeah, because it's not a perfect 100 here anyway, so close enough. And look at that. Let's check out the memory bandwidth. It should be over am I taking a chance? 70 gigabytes? Oh no, it's not. It's 40. Oh well, yeah, the timings are a bit relaxed. 33, 33, 33, 77. That's not great at all. So, but you're still getting well over 60 gigabytes a second, which is a lot more than you would have gotten with this memory just running its XMP profile. And literally all you have to do is just set the voltage, select the DRAM frequency, and select gear 2 mode, and there you have it. 4800 from memory that cost 2200 and rated literally 600 megahertz lower than what it's operating at right now. Let's see what Geekbench 3 says. This test, the memory subscore test at least, is so very reliable in telling you how your memory bandwidth and frequency memory bandwidth and latency combination will translate into some applications. Similar to how SuperPi works in some ways, right? You can still get a sort of relative measure of a CPU's performance or single thread performance using SuperPi even after all of this time. So we'll just let this test finish, and I think the score should be about 9,300 and something. Okay. Again, given that the DRAM timings have not been tuned, these are the auto rules from the motherboard. I haven't done anything here. It's just what the motherboard gives you by default. Okay, so 9,385. So I was close enough. And just in case you're wondering what other timings the motherboard sets, in case you want to try them, here they are. Okay, you can easily see them here. I did nothing to the timings. They are what the motherboard trains as the auto rules. Okay, so let's try 5066. So the thing is with 5066 is that I previously ran it and saved a profile. So you may not get to see me go through the entire thing. But suffice to say, it actually does work. So I'll load here. You see, I had already done 5066, but this is just the same profile, just with more tuned timings. That's pretty much all it is. I'm gonna turn this down here just to get the motherboard to post a little bit quicker. You wouldn't think that works that way, but it actually does. So another thing, I guess it's a good part now to actually talk about voltage. So you'll see DRAM voltage here in the profile I'm loading changed from 1.6 to 1.7 volts. If you are still freaking out about the safety of using 1.7 volts, yes, you are right to be concerned, but I would implore you to not put too much emphasis on that. 1.7 is still fine, particularly for these ICs. And the reason I say that is because the very same ICs that are used on this motherboard, or excuse me, not on the motherboard, on this memory, so the Hynix DJRs, are exactly the same ICs that you see on other high performance kits that are rated at 5066, 5333, and if there are kits rated higher, even those ones. So the same ICs, just because it's written 3600 1.35 volts doesn't mean it's necessarily at more danger than it would be operating at 1.7 or 1.6 volts even at DDR4 5066. It's exactly the same IC, so do not be alarmed. And even if you had bought a kit at 1.6 volts 5066, adding 100 millivolts to it is not going to make it explode or hurt it in any way. But that's just me. If you are uncomfortable with that, I fully understand. So anyway, let's get on with this. Okay, so here we are in Windows. Let's see if the profile was saved, or rather loaded correctly. It should have been. Yes, here you go. DDR 5066, or rather DDR4 5066, which is what I meant to say. Actually, talking about that, I'm pretty excited for what DDR5 is going to bring us. It's such a big change from the previous DDR generations because it changes so much about how even we approach a memory on the for modern CPUs and modern platforms. Such an incredible technology. But anyway, let's go and see. Oh, here we go. Let's see what IDA64 says. This time we should be firmly above 70 gigabytes a second, somewhere like 75, and 70. Yeah, so 75 read, 75 write, and we'll see where copy puts us. I think just over 70, hopefully, or like late 69. Yeah, and latency should be like 47 something or 48, early 48. Yeah, 48.1. Okay, so let's see what Geekbench 3 says. Keep in mind, we are still talking about memory that's... Okay, I'm gonna ruin the score because I want to go to the SPD. I shouldn't do that, but it's still gonna be a lot higher than... There you go. So keep in mind that this is memory rated at 3600 that is now running 5066. I even managed to post and boot into Windows at I think it was 5,333, but it was definitely unstable then, and I couldn't pass any memory test at all. I would usually test each and every one setting, trying to maximize the performance and so forth, but it's really not worth it. The important thing here is to know that you can get to 5,066. How far you tune after that will be entirely up to you. So there you go, 10,657. So we're still able to add another 1,000 points up from 4,800, from DDR4 4,800. And yeah, that just shows how much tuning headroom there is in this memory. It's quite incredible actually that it's able to do this for such a cheap price. So anyway, that's it from me about the KLEVV DDR4 3600 CRAS X, as they call it, memory. Just wonderful overclocking headroom. You'll feel how you feel about the aesthetic element of the DRAM, but if any memory can do this, it could be beige, that old 90s computer beige. I would still take it because this is really awesome stuff. So I hope to be able to give you a lot more of these sort of things, like a behind the scenes sort of thing, just give you some insight in how I eventually get to do these reviews and so forth. And as I said earlier, just to talk to you about general PC DIY things and that sort of stuff. Let me know what you think about the memory, about this format and so forth. Hopefully we'll improve it as we go along. Yeah, remember to share, like, subscribe if you haven't, and if you haven't, why are you even listening to this? But anyway, remember to share, like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the flip side. So take care of yourselves and peace.